So no, this isn't Mr. Cubfidentiality. No, it's the bad boy for Brooklyn. Yes, this is the best Cubs coverage after dark. I'm a little tired tonight. Mr. Cubfidentiality's got like the flu or something. Stay away from him. Keep your 6 feet. Maybe make it 10. It's ugly. But right now, you may want to stay further away from the Cubs. They went off tonight. Let's get started with Jen. She's got some good stuff going on. Got some important stuff happening. Let's start with the series over the weekend, which I got to go to the rubber match of the series. So, Jen, welcome to the show. How you doing tonight?
I'm great. How are you, JB?
Doing good. So we'll start with the big league guys before we get into Ed and his catastrophe of an injury.
Yes.
So let's talk about the weekend. Arizona came in, and they had their way with us for a couple of days. And then Sunday, I'm sitting there in the 8th inning. I look over at Deb and I say, we just need back-to-back home runs. And sure enough, Wisdom and my man Schwanda came through.
Yep.
And we're sitting there in the 9th inning. And my friend who's sitting on my right with one out, all of a sudden I hear people screaming, and the ball lands right in his lap. Got the foul ball. It was a great ending. Great ending to the game.
Right.
So tell us a little bit about what you saw in the Arizona series from the guys.
So honestly, they are like, we didn't have it go the way we wanted to at the end, but the Diamondbacks were a little miffed because, we did pretty well in Arizona. Not great, but we did better. But I saw one really cool record that was broken for the first time since August 23rd and August 24th, 1969, when Jim Hicksman and Ernie Banks did this. There were back-to-back home runs on consecutive days by two players, Patrick Wisdom and Frank Schwanda. And we also had Mr. Lee with that grand slam of his. So overall, it was a pretty good weekend. I think they're starting to get together. Obviously, we've discussed pitching before, and you're right, it's not pitching because it's just not the pitching. But I think they're starting to come together. They've had some really good ups, some pretty bad lows, but like they're killing it right now with the Reds. They just need to finish closing the game because losing the games in the last two innings never a good thing, and that's what happened during two of the games. So we just have to learn how to close.
So is it safe to say the offense has finally woken up?
I think so. I think they're gelling now. Maybe they listen to us. They listen to the bad boy of Brooklyn.
So what do you seeing Schwindel and Wisdom go deep back to back those two games? What did you take out of that?
I loved it. I just thought that's teamwork. I mean, I know they're hitting the ball. I get that. But it is teamwork. And because what's going on in the bullpen, what's going on in the locker room, what's going on in the dugout, that all matters. That all congeals. When you're pumping each other up, like, me, like I probably should change my name to Power Positivity or something. But when you're doing that and you're encouraging each other and you have that faith and your teammates know you have that faith in each other and in yourself, that makes all the difference. And that's across all sports. That's swimming, football, basketball, baseball, everything, diving, like anything you got. As long as you believe in yourself, as long as you believe in the people that are surrounding yourself with, that's what's important. Because even in the individual sports, you're still a team. So
one of the things I noticed when I was there on Sunday, Simmons and Suzuki both had playable balls.
Mm-hmm.
There was a ground ball up the middle, and I thought if Simmons would have made a diving play, he would have been able to get to it or at least knock it down. Right. There was a little bloop that was hit to right, and I didn't think Suzuki charged it at all, and it bounced maybe 10 feet in front of him. So I'm wondering, is there a lack of hustle with this team? Do they just not have the heart to play hard, or is it just, one of those days where, whatever,
I think they have faith in each other, but I don't know if they have faith in the team. Does that make sense?
Compound
Because
that a
they're in
little
a
bit.
losing streak, right? So, but they did good against the Padres. So, they've been in somewhat of a losing streak, and you can believe, like I can believe in you, JB, but if I didn't believe in Cubfidential, I'm not going to research everything and try my best to bring my A game for you, for this show, for everything, if I didn't believe in the Cubfidential as well. And that, again, is translucent across sports too. So you can believe and be like, oh, hey, Schwanda's awesome. Wisdom's awesome. Suzuki's great. But then if you're in that losing streak as a team, what you going to do?
I think that lack of hustle,
Mm-hmm.
it didn't burn them that game. They got timely hits. The back-to-back homers were huge.
Right.
The offense is starting to wake up. But, little
The
plays like
defense
that,
seems to.
when you don't show up and you just take plays off, it tends to cost team games. And they were two playable balls. I mean,
Yeah.
You get to the pros, you got to make plays. You can't sit on your hands and say, I'm going to let it go through the middle. I'm going to give up a hit. Or I'm not going to charge the fly ball. And I was surprised to see Suzuki not charging the ball.
Right. And I'll be honest, I was traveling on Sunday, so I didn't watch it. I did more reading, so I didn't get to see that, so I apologize. But
Okay.
but when you're not going for it, what's wrong? What's that mental there? Because baseball is 99% mental. Like physics, when you look at physics, baseball shouldn't happen, right? But when there's a will, there's a way. And so it does happen, and it happens every single day. And yeah, long way to say the hustle's got to be there, and that needs to be spoken about. That needs to be coached on still. But can you coach hustle? You can tell somebody to do it, but if the entire mentality is, hey, I believe in you, but maybe it's this, and as I was thinking this, certain people have faith in them on the Cubs and other people don't yet. Like Suzuki, people have faith in him because he proved himself. But then he got injured or sick, I forgot which, and he missed a game or two. And then and now, like, maybe he's still recuperating. I don't know. But you got to have that faith.
I definitely hear you. Now let's get to, the bigger news down in the minors with Ed Howard.
Mm-hmm.
This guy is a touted prospect, and a lot of people may not realize how good he is. But this is
he's 14th in the MLB pipeline, 4th for the Cubs up next before he got injured last week. Yeah, and he wasn't doing that great in Myrtle Beach when he was with the Cubs farm team down there, but he's been doing really well in South Bend. And last Monday, he was stretching for first, and all of a sudden he collapsed in obvious pain and went down, and he's out for the rest of the season. And this kid came right out of high school. He was on the winning side of the minor league World Championships in 2014. Only one season he missed, and that was because of COVID protocols, and that was 2020. But they do expect a full recovery. So
yes. How long do they think he's going to be out?
All season.
Okay. Yeah, that's a tough loss. I mean, that's at that age, missing a full year because the year just started. That's a lot of development that he's going to be missing. He is a very talented young man, so hopefully he can recover and play just as good as he was before he got hurt. But maybe I'm curious to see. Hopefully, but that's a big blow to the future. And right now, as a Cubs fan, the future is what we're looking for, because for it to be this year, it's going to be really hard. So when you see a piece like that go down, it's scary.
Yeah, it is scary. I feel for him. He gave up college prospects to go to the, Cubs. He was picked 16th overall in 2020, first round. And he's just, I feel for him. I hope he's okay. I think he will be. He's young enough to recover. I'll say that because he's what, 20?
Yeah.
19, 20. I mean, hopefully he should recover. He should be fine. If you look at like some of your other professional athletes that have rebounded, like it's possible it happens. Sometimes it doesn't happen, but it does happen. And I think he's young enough for it to rebound. And I think he's got enough determination because you don't give up on yourself when you have an injury, when you're that caliber athlete.
Yeah, and I mean, the fact that he's a local kid from the Chicago area,
Mm-hmm.
you know, I know a lot of people were excited about, you know, him coming up in a couple of years. I'm curious to see how far this sets him back and where it puts his progress when he comes back next year. Hopefully it's nothing but good, you know.
Yes, I hope so.
So over the weekend on Saturday, they unveiled Fergie Jenkins' statue.
Mm-hmm.
So that brings us to the Cub or Done tonight. So
Okay.
is Ryan Sandberg going to be the next statue that's put up?
I don't know because I can think of several others too. But he would be a good one.
So if it's not him, who would you pick?
Walton.
Very cool.
I would go with Walton because, like, he was undrafted. He came out of nowhere, had the longest Cubs hitting streak. Like, that's where I'd go.
Very cool, Jen. Well, we appreciate it. Tell everyone where they can find you.
Sure. Well, you guys can find me on Cubfidential, right here. You can find me on Three Chicks on a Pod on Sunday or Tuesday nights also, usually at 7:30. Tonight it was at 7. Pundits Pundit on Thursday nights, as well as the Step Off on Thursday nights and the NFL Carousel on during the season. So, and the NBA Carousel while we have it going on.
Well, Jen, I want to thank you. I hope you had a great time in Baltimore. Good seeing you again. You have a great night.
You too. Bye.
All right. So from Jen, we're going to go into our next guest. The man that needs no introduction. If I'm correct, I believe he won last week's Cubfidential. I could be wrong, though. You know, everybody on the show is a winner. Jordan Long.
Hey, JB.
Jordan, welcome. Did you win last week, or am I getting my confused?
I did not. I won the previous 2 weeks.
Oh, okay. So, you know, you've won so much. I'm so used to you winning.
Right, exactly.
So let's talk a little bit about the Rocky series.
Actually, we played the Pirates.
No. The Pirates. Let's talk a little bit about the Pirate series. It's late. I'm tired. It's been a long day. You know.
I hear you. And the Pirates seem to own us, but at least this time they didn't own us. We actually, on Monday, beat them 9-0, scored 8 runs in the first inning. And actually, that's when Contreras, I think he ended up with the grand slam and was leading off. And we had, a little debate last week on should he lead off. But offensively in that first game, 13 hits, 8 runs, 4 doubles, 1 home run. And we were actually patient at the plate with 4 walks. Yeah, we had 2 strikeouts, but so what? And then if you look at the pitching wise, Miley, 7 innings pitch, 1 hit, 6 strikeouts. Great for him. Rucker came in, 1 inning pitch, 2 hits, and 1 strikeout. Overall, only gave up 3 hits. I mean, you're going to win ball games if you're going to do that. Tuesday was the same success. I mean, I'm excited to get to talk about the series because Tuesday, same exact thing. Won 7-0, scored 1 in the third with Velar homered. 4th and 5th, we got runs scored by Suzuki, Happ, and Contreras. Schwanda also doubled. But if you look at offensively, we had 7 hits, 7 runs, 2 doubles, 2 home runs, 4 walks, and 12 strikeouts. And pitching-wise, again, Thompson, 5 innings pitch, 4 hits, and 5 strikeouts. Norris, 1/3 of an inning, 1 walk. Hughes, 1.2 innings pitched, 1 walk, and 5 strikeouts. Leiter Jr., who actually didn't have his best stuff coming back, but he pitched 2 innings, 1 hit, and 2 strikeouts. Overall, 5 hits, 2 walks, and 12 strikeouts. Not bad. Then Wednesday wasn't our night. Went up 1-0 in the first when Ian Happ homered. Cubs gave up 2 in the third. Actually tied the game up in the fourth with Suzuki, who was at second, and Schwanda singled, scoring Suzuki. In the fifth, though, the Pirates came and hit a home run, and we fell 3-2. We didn't threaten after the fifth inning, but still offensively, 5 hits, two runs, 4 walks, and 11 strikeouts. Pitching wise, again, we got great pitching. Smiley, 4.1 innings pitched, gave up 6 hits, which I'm not very happy about, but hey, he only gave up 3 runs. I mean, if you're going to give up 3 runs, you should win that game. 1 walk and 5 strikeouts. But overall, I mean, if you look at the pitching, gave up 9 hits, 3 runs, 2 walks, 11 strikeouts, and 1 home run. So not bad from our pitching.
No, I mean, overall, a really good series. The bats, like I said with Jenn, they're coming to life. There's some magic coming on with these bats all of a sudden.
It is. I mean, it's nice to actually see offensively we're coming together. I mean, I know we're in, May? We still have a bunch of time left to get things right. Whether or not we're going to, climb in the standings, who knows? That's up to our offense and pitching. But the fact of the matter is we're finally playing well together. I mean, I know a couple of weeks ago it was like doom and gloom on this show, but now it's more we're actually putting something together.
So, I mean, when you look at a guy like Schwanda, what he's been doing, Wisdom, who's starting to hit better, he's not striking out as much, Hap, who's putting together a really good year. What from this series sticks out in your mind offensively?
Mostly it's the fact that we had 25 hits. We had 17 runs scored. We were actually pretty patient at the plate, too, with 12 walks. And if you look at it, we were actually driving the ball in the gap. We love, everybody likes the long ball. We had 4 home runs. That's almost a home run per game. I'll take that. And, I mean, the only disappointing part is we still had 28 strikeouts, but I'll take 25 hits and 17 runs scored over 28 strikeouts any day.
So I feel like we talk about this every week, and this isn't a Cubs problem. This is a Major League Baseball problem. How do you curb the strikeouts so you can increase the offense?
A lot of it is just being patient at the plate. You got to work the pitches and the pitch count. You got to get that pitch count high for a pitcher. I know when I went to the Cubs game last week, I saw a lot of Cubs hitters swinging at low pitches that should have been balls. You just got to be patient at the plate, and a lot of that has to do with just seeing the ball better with your eyes. That's just what it comes down to, cut and dry.
So overall, from that 3-game set, so the Pirates have pretty much owned the Cubs so far this year before the series. What was the difference in, coming back in these 3 games and, reestablish themselves as a team to beat the Pirates?
Well, besides our offense, if you look at our pitching, we only gave up 17 hits and 3 runs, 4 walks, and yet our pitchers were actually having great pitching location, 30 strikeouts, so we're making them swing. If we continue to do that and have pitching there, we should be no problem getting back in this race, hopefully.
Yeah, I mean, with wins like that, you're basically taking care of the games you're supposed to win, and when you win the games you're supposed to win, it gives you confidence when you're playing better teams, especially when you look the week before where they went ahead and took care of the Padres, who were a decent team. So this team is definitely playing more confident. How now with the pitching staff, as far as the relievers go, what did you see in the series?
Basically, we didn't give up a whole lot. That was nice to see. I mean, a lot of the times when we put our relievers in, for whatever reason, they're not having the best pitching location. Hitters are keying on that with the scouting reports. It didn't happen in this series. They were finding their spots. I mean, when Ross went to the the bullpen, especially in game 1, he only brought 1 reliever in and came back and, won that game. But again, it was 9-0. The second game, went to his bullpen, great. The third game, again, bullpen was doing great. So it's just a matter of, the bullpen coming together, pitching well, and not giving up those, timely hits. And they didn't do that in the Pittsburgh series, which was really nice to see. They weren't leaving the ball over the plate for Pittsburgh hitters to hit it.
So, I mean, right now we talked a little bit about history. Jen kind of brought it up earlier with the back-to-back home runs with Wisdom and Schwanda. So what does that say about this team that, these are the first two guys to do that since Ernie Banks was a Cub?
It just shows you that, yes, we have power in the lineup and we can hit back-to-back for home runs. I didn't realize it had been that long. I figured, especially in the Sammy Sosa years with him and Moises Alou, that would happen more often. But the fact of the matter is, it just shows you that we have power in this lineup. It doesn't matter if you're, second or third in the lineup. We just have power, and we're telling these pitchers, if you make mistakes, you're going to pay.
Yeah, I mean, you know what surprised me and probably disappointed me more than anything with that? Yesterday, the lineup came out and Wisdom and Schwindel weren't batting back-to-back. Why would you tinker with the lineup when it's doing so well? What's your thoughts on that?
It's David Ross. I mean, if something's successful, the old thing is, if it's working, why mess with it? And that's what he's doing. Why is he tinkering with it? I saw that too, and I didn't understand it either. You need to if a lineup's working, do not switch. I really have no answer on why he would switch everything around, but that's David Ross trying to say, hey, we want to get power in our lineup, but yet we want to have a gap in between these hitters. Yes, all of them can hit power hitting, but when you have back-to-back home runs with those two hitters, why change it? It doesn't make sense with them. I sometimes I question Ross's managerial skills sometimes.
It baffles me that it's working. You're doing, first of all, you basically had something historic happen that hadn't been done in a ridiculous amount of years. Whenever you bring up the name that it hasn't been done since Ernie Banks, that's something that's special. I mean, but why play with the lineup? Why do that to your guys?
I wish I had a better answer, but it's just him trying to, see if we can get a better lineup, and you still can, especially since like we've talked about, back-to-back home runs. Why change it? You have power right there. Why have a gap in between? I didn't understand it either, but it's David Ross. I think he's over-managing a little bit because he wants to get a different lineup. That way, if you have the same lineup, pitchers can key on, okay, this hitter will do this. This other hitter will do this in our lineup. But you can't do that. Why mess with success?
See, I think one of the biggest flaws I see with this team is they don't have a leadoff hitter. Right now, if you were managing this team, who would your leadoff hitter be?
Honestly, it'd be Wilson Contreras. I mean, we saw it in the Pirates series that he actually smacked a grand slam. What more do you want? Why would you have Contreras not be the leadoff? I've seen Ortega. I've seen Wisdom. I don't know why you don't have your leader in the clubhouse, who's one of your best catchers, Contreras, not leading off. That's who I'd have lead off.
I disagree with you because there's nobody on base when you lead off the game, but that's the only time in the game where that should happen. But then you have them coming up after the 7, 8, 9 hitters, and normally you get more hits in the middle of the lineup. That's why I'm not a fan of that theory. I like to see Contreras hit third. I think he's your best player, and that's normally the spot for the best player in the lineup. But to each their own with that. I'm not opposed to him leading off. I prefer him batting third. I don't know who you put up to lead off. There's nobody on that team that I say I want to be my leadoff hitter.
That's exactly why I'd put Contreras at leadoff. I mean, you could put Hab, you could put Ortega, but then again, you still want Hab's bat in the heart of the lineup. So I think that's something that Davis Ross is going to have to tinker with. Who's going to be the leadoff? Because he's done Contreras, he's done Ortega, he's done Wisdom. It's like, who's going to lead off? You're right. We don't have a leadoff hitter.
I think I'd go Suzuki. Ortega, Contreras. Then I don't know fourth, I'd probably put Hap. And then fifth, either Wisdom and Schwindel, back-to-back, fifth and sixth. And then the rest of the lineup, however you want to fill it out.
That actually sounds like a good lineup to me. You got guys who can get on base, and you have power hitters who can hit it to the gap. I'm fine with that. Now you just got to sign it and send it to David Ross in a letter.
Yeah, I don't get it at all. I don't know what he, what he does, that he switches this around every week after week, time after time. It's from day to day, there's no consistency. And to me, I've always felt that baseball players having to play 162 games a year, yes, you're not going to play every game. There's no more Cal Ripkins. No one's playing every day. But you're going to play 144 if you're a starter. To know when you come to the ballpark, you're batting third, you're batting fifth. That's your role. That's your spot. It just gives you a level of confidence, and you know what you're needed to do. I feel like this team, they go home, on a Tuesday night. They come to the park Wednesday. They have no idea what's going on. There's chaos.
That could be part of the reason why we didn't see a lot of results earlier in the season, because of the fact that he's tinkering with the lineup. And you're right, especially if let's say Suzuki's hitting second every day. He knows he's going to hit second. He doesn't have to say, oh, look in the lineup card and go, where am I hitting? Or even Contreras hitting third or fourth, or even leadoff. I mean, it baffles my mind that he keeps tinkering with it for whatever reason. He wants to have a successful lineup. Well, he's had a successful lineup. We saw it in the Pirates series. We saw it tonight against Cincinnati. Stop tinkering with it. Go with the lineup that actually has you winning.
Yeah, I don't get it, but we'll talk more, I'm sure, as the season progresses on that. I mean, we're already towards the end of May. At least the team's starting to win and starting to hit. But let's talk about the statues over at Gallagher Way. Fergie Jenkins got his statue this weekend. Beautiful statue, really cool. They had Andre Dawson there, a couple other Cubs greats with them to honor Fergie. So the Cup or Dud question tonight. Sandberg, does he get the next statue at Gallagher Way?
I would say yes. I mean, the guy played 15 out of 16 years of his Major League Baseball career with the Chicago Cubs. He also hit .285 with Chicago. He's fifth in home runs with 282. When it comes to doubles, he hit 403 and 76 triples. And this guy is a 10-time All-Star, won the 7 Silver Award, Silver Slugger Awards, 9 Gold Gloves. What more do you want? He needs to be there to say, I was one of the best Cubs. There's something going on with him in the organization. I don't know what that is. I mean, I know they brought him back, but it's like the Rakins family should say he deserves a statue as one of the best Cubs ever.
Well, I mean, I do get the idea of what they do with these statues in these days. They want to spread it out. They want to do it against a team like Arizona that's not going to draw people, So I definitely get why it was done for this game and all that. But, yeah, I think Sandberg does deserve to be next. There's nobody on my mind that I would think should come before him. But, I'm waiting for somebody to say something different, and I have a feeling somebody will.
Exactly. I mean, he definitely deserves it as one of the best Cubs ever. I don't know why he hasn't gotten there. I know Fergie Jenkins definitely deserved it, but Ryan Sandberg has to be next.
So before you go, Jordan, where can people find you?
You can find me at Sports Scoop 1 on Twitter. I also write a blog that I write Mondays through Thursdays with podcasts on Fridays at sports-scoop.com. I also have a live stream that I'm going to put on the network soon, but you can find it on my blog. It's called Under Review, and it's basically a sports show that has all Colorado sports with a sprinkling of national headlines as well.
Well, Jordan, it was a pleasure. You back for Confrontation tonight, or you got a week off?
I'm back for Confrontation, and I'm ready to go against Jacob.
So you're the early favorite since you got the most wins. So we'll see what happens.
Sounds good.
All right, Jordan. So next we got my man Stevie Bats coming up. So Stevie's going to talk about my all-time favorite Cub. The guy comes from playing for the St. John's Red Storm. If you don't know who that is, Steve, tell me more about this guy, Frankie Schwanda.
All right, so real quick before I, indulge your Red Stormness. Last week, if you remember, which of course all of you watched last week, because why would you not? I called out Patrick Wisdom because he was like 13 strikeouts. In his last 15 at-bats last week, right? Well, all he did was hit 4 home runs in a row with 6 RBIs. Now, tonight he did not hit a home run. He was only 2 for 5 with 2 runs scored, but we'll take it. So I will publicly apologize to Patrick Wisdom. I'm sorry. But I hope that I can continue this trend that when I call out somebody, it works out well. Like tonight with your boy, Swindell, who at 2:44 tonight, today, this afternoon, I'll call myself out. It's fine. I said, oh, how can he be the Cub of the week? He's not hitting very well. Like, yeah, he's getting, some RBIs, but his average is terrible. Well, what does he do tonight? He hits 2 home runs. He's 3 for 5. He's got 3 runs scored, 3 hits, 3 RBIs, 9 total bases. Basically a huge FU from Frankie to me. I am sorry, Frankie. You're the man. Keep rocking it. I love it. Fly that W. I mean, 11-4 win tonight, 7-4 win yesterday. Hey, they beat the Diamondbacks 5-4 the day before. They got 2 more against the Reds coming up before an off day, before they get the White Sox again. Like, let's get a little something going again. Like, I like it. I like it. Win the games you're supposed to win, right? We talked about games you're supposed to win.
It's all you can do. You can only play who's on your schedule, and you got to beat the teams you're supposed to beat to get anywhere.
Absolutely. And when you're playing 162 games and you still got, I don't think it's changed, right? You still got 19 games against each of your conference, right?
Yeah.
I said conference. Each of your division teams, right? So you got 19 games against those division foes. Like, yeah, the Brewers are good, but like, you better beat the Reds. Like those are the games you're supposed to win, And I'm actually planning to. I hope to. I've looked at it. I'm hoping to get into my schedule. I live here in this, central part of Michigan. I'm hoping to get down to Cincinnati for one of those games that the Cubs are playing in Cincinnati, because we all know it's easier to get tickets in Cincinnati than it is to get tickets in Chicago. So I'm looking into that. Hopefully, I will at one of these, series. But yeah, you got to do what you got to do. You got to beat the teams that you're supposed to beat. But yeah, Swindell was outstanding tonight with the 2 home runs. I mean, 3 for 5. Who could go wrong? And yeah, his average wasn't great the 7 days before today, but he still had, a double, 2 home runs and 3 RBIs and 3 walks and a slugging percentage over 500 and was hitting like 280. And then he goes 3 for 5. So, and he went to St. John's. So, I guess we got
automatic win.
Yeah.
I mean, the program that
the
basketball program that was once in the top 4 in wins, that right now I think has more guys in Major League Baseball than the NBA. Go figure.
I mean, you got Chris Mullen. You had the great Felipe Lopez at St. John's. I mean, that worked out really well.
I mean, history-wise, basketball, they have some great players that got to the NBA. But, baseball, they're pretty good too. Yeah. I mean, they've always had a great baseball program, which always impressed me.
And if you don't know who Felipe Lopez is, Google him. Because he was that guy coming out, like,
way back.
Yes. Yeah, like, when he committed to St. John's, it was a big deal. So, like, if you don't know basketball, Google him. And if you don't know Chris Mullen, then seriously, you have an issue. But
then you don't follow basketball.
Yeah, then you seriously have an issue. But yeah, Frankie's been great. I wanted to show love to Ian Happ because I love Ian Happ, though he went 0 for 5 tonight. But he was hitting .316 this week, so I was all, prepped, ready to just honor Ian Happ, and then he goes 0 for 5 tonight and leaves 7 guys on base. But at least they still won 11-4, so it's all good. But you got 2 more games against the Reds, night game tomorrow, day game on Thursday. Hey, win those both. Get a nice day off on before the weekend, and then get the White Sox, and we'll see what happens. But yeah, just I love that, and I'm all for it. I don't care if you want to yell at me. I am all for anybody that I call out then just doing awesome things the next week. You know, like
that's a great thing.
I'm all for it. I am on board. Like obviously Contreras is hurt right now, so it doesn't really count. But he was obviously he's got that hamstring injury, so he's been limited. But in his at bats for this week before he was hurt, yeah, it's not good. He's hitting below 100 before he got hurt this week. So yeah, so I'll call him out just for him to come back and just tear it up. Just for that only reason I'll mention him, just so he can do it. So if that, I'm all for it for many reasons. One, he's my fantasy baseball catcher. And two, I want him to do good things. So if I can keep, reverse psyching these people out, I will continue to do it.
Listen, I got my little home run thing going. Like I was telling Jen, I believe earlier, the 8th inning, I looked over at Deb. I'm like, all we need is back-to-back homers. Sure enough, it happened. Earlier the year, the Yankees had a walk-off. The Judge hit a walk-off homer. I was watching that. I'm like, I just had a feeling he was going to hit a homer. So I'm like 2 for 2 with thoughts of home runs this year. And I mean, the back-to-back, that's pretty special to call that.
Yeah, like I said,
so,
you talked about it, but it hasn't happened since Ernie Banks. Like,
yeah,
since Ernie Banks was on the Cubs, like that's. I mean, you got Derek Lee and Aramis Ramirez. You got Sosa and Alou. Like, I mean, go down the list. Like, it hasn't happened since Ernie Banks. That's pretty darn impressive, So,
I mean, when you think about who's played for the Cubs,
absolutely.
And then how do you change the lineup the day after?
I know you were talking about that, and I don't want to get too much involved in the other things. I'll let other people talk on it. But quickly, I'll just say, to me, I'll give the analogy of the NFL, right? Or college football, or we'll talk about football. When they say if you have 2 quarterbacks, you have no quarterbacks, right?
Right.
I feel like that's the same thing if you change your lineup every day. Like, at this point, we've all talked about it before. You've all heard it before. You all watch baseball. You got Memorial Day, July 4th, Labor Day, right? Those are your 3 pillars of the baseball season where you're at, right? We're about to be at Memorial Day. If you don't have a set lineup, that is your lineup like 6 out of 7 days, I get it. It's not Cal Ripken, like you said earlier. Guys get days off. I get it. But if you don't have that set lineup where like 6 out of every 7 days, this is your lineup, by this point, you're doing a big disservice to your players. And Jordan talked about it. Like, hey, I'm going to bat second. Every day I'm going to bat second. If I go 0 for 4 one day, the next day, I'm still going to bat second. If I go 3 for 4 the next day, I'm still going to bat second. I know where I'm going to bat. And I think, and again, obviously I've never been half as good at anything as Major League Baseball players are at baseball, but I think that helps you, that routine. I mean, anybody in your job, like your routine. I mean, how would you feel if you think you're going to, teach science when you go to work and you show up and say, oh, actually, you're going to teach math today, right? Like,
it's
you
insane,
to do, right? Like,
it's just wild.
It is.
So, last question before Cup are done. Who's your leadoff hitter on this team? Who would you make the leadoff hitter?
Man,
I just don't think they have one. I mean, that's why I say Suzuki.
They don't.
Yeah.
They haven't had a true leadoff hitter, truthfully, since Dexter Fowler left. Really.
Yeah.
And I know I argued, last week for Contreras because that was my job, and just saying, hey, we want our best hitter to hit leadoff so he hits multiple times and all that. And truthfully, I think Suzuki is a good pick. I think Ian Happ would be good. I know he's done it in the past, but he's kind of become more of a power bat than a contact bat.
I like him 5th or 6th.
Better later in the lineup. So it really gets to that point where I'm with you in the bigger picture. I really don't care who it is, truthfully. Just whoever you pick, give them a month or 2. Let's I don't care who it. I mean, I don't care who it is. Give them a month or two, and let's see what we're at. Right? Like, if you change it every day, how does anybody get a read of if it's good or not?
Especially in a lineup, batting leadoff is different than probably any other position in a batting lineup. Because you start the whole game, you start the offense, you're coming up to restart the lineup every time the lineup turns over.
Yeah.
You need time to grow into that role. You have to learn how to know how to take pitches so the other guys can see what's coming. It's not, you can't just throw anybody there and say, okay, you bat leadoff today. It doesn't work that way. There's an art to it. So you need time to get used to being a leadoff hitter. Because
hopefully the only time that you're actually leading off with no one on base is to start the game. But that sets the tone. And I mean, obviously we all remember, it was 4 years ago already, maybe 3 or 4 years ago already, when Ian Happ opened the season with that leadoff home run to start the season, right? Like it just sets the tone that you're feeling good about yourself. And even if, things don't go well from after that, it's still a great feeling to have, like, oh wow, first pitch of the season was a leadoff home run. But usually that's the only time that you're going to lead off, an inning is to start the game. But it still sets the tone, right? If you strike out on 3 pitches, it kind of sets the tone for the rest of the game. And and especially with no pitchers not hitting now and the internet engaged, you have a chance to turn that order around. Especially if you have a good contact hitter at 2 to move things around. Now, if you got 8-9-1 to lead off an inning, now you're like, well, hey, we can kind of get something going here a little bit.
Make things happen easily.
Absolutely. So it's a huge thing. We're gonna, unfortunately, I hate, spoiler alert, I know we're gonna continue to talk about it because I trust David Ross to actually decide on someone and keep it there. So we're going to continue to talk about it, but, and don't get me wrong, I'm not pretending like I know more about baseball than he does, but please just pick someone. Please pick someone.
Stick with a lineup. So before I let you go, Cup or dud? Sandberg, next statue?
I love Ryan Sandberg. So yeah, I absolutely think he should be the next statue. Without question, without getting into anything else for any other reason. I love him. He was great. To me, still, I mean, I'm about to be 40. For me, I still think Ryan Sandberg when I think the Cubs. So like he's still that, like growing up, he was still obviously Sammy Sosa when I was in my teenage years, but Sandberg was still the first guy that I think about when I think about the Cubs growing up. So, yeah, for me, 100% next statue. I hope it happens.
And where can people find you?
Hey, find me hopefully on Cubfidential every Tuesday night if I stay up past my bedtime. Every night on the NBA Carousel until the Warriors are out of it. And, they're about to, lose game 4, which is fine. They'll win in game 5 and we're good. And then on Twitter, all eyes on you, the letter U, hoops, on Twitter, or SMan1720 is my personal Twitter. But yeah, find me on there. And then hopefully another show here and there on the network, on Sideline Sports. When people need me, I'm always here.
And let's go St. John's. Remember that.
Let's go Red Storm.
All right, Stevie Bats. Thank you, man. Have a great night.
You too, buddy. Thanks, JB.
Thanks. So next we got the Pundits Pundit coming in at cleanup tonight. So, how you doing tonight?
What is going on? You and I are the only ones outside of Schwanda that remember the Redmen.
Right? I'm telling you. Listen, I got home about 2 o'clock in the morning Sunday. Last night I had to go cover. Spike Lee was the executive producer for this movie. It's an independent film, actually, that won a lot of awards. So I went to do the film screening.
It's a Spike Lee movie. What isn't independent with him?
So what a great movie, though. He wasn't the director. He was the executive producer. You Resemble Me. If anybody's listening, if you get a chance to watch it, Vice Films was involved in it. Dina Amers, the director. I have a review coming out tomorrow. Great movie.
Of course, yeah.
But from a great movie, let's talk about one of the great all-time Cubs. Let's talk about Fergie Jenkins. So I'm from New York. You're going to have to fill me in. I mean, I know he's a great name. I know the name. One of the best Cubs that probably there ever was. But, you know, you're a Cubs guy. You know, if you tell you about, you know, Don Mattingly, I could sit here and talk to you for a year. Do that for me. Tell me about Fergie Jenkins.
Here's what's so funny about this. I missed him by my first Cubs were the 84. I remember from 84 on when I can remember everything. I missed him by a year. You know, I missed him by a year. He left. His last year was 83. So it was like I missed him by a year. And by the way, if he would have played in 84, I would have remembered it. That's what tells you something. Here's the thing though about him. He had 5 300 inning years. 5 of them. 6 straight 20-win seasons. That's not happening ever again. Then another eight 200 inning seasons and over. But here's what's so funny about him. But all those wins, all those records, he gave up either the National League or Major League high in home runs 8 different times.
Wow.
Yeah, it's like, see, so what this is that, see, he had a fireball and he was a great control pitcher. But this is what I'm talking about with people all the time about they like big power pitchers. Here's the idea about power pitchers. It goes out even faster when you get a power hitter up there. And so he was the proof of that. But see, the thing about Fergie is just the fact that you got to also, there's another record to give you. He also had 4 seasons of at least 20 and over complete games and 1 season with 30 complete games.
Yeah, that doesn't happen anymore. It's, you know, I was talking with Adam Gold about guys that had 3,000 and 2,000 strikeouts compared to guys that had 1,000 strikeouts. And I think it was 86 guys had 2,000 strikeouts. 18 had 3,000 strikeouts, and some ridiculous number had 1,000 strikeouts. Mm-hmm. So, you know, we were talking about it, and he goes, well, it's because they used to pitch more innings. And I disagreed with that. My theory was, you know, when I looked back at the amount of innings pitched per league leader and the amount of strikeouts, when you looked at the strikeout rate back in the day, it wasn't like what it is now. So, you know, I think I want to say in the 50s, it was about 6 strikeouts a game. Now it's almost doubled per team.
By the way, I just saw what Dom brought up. 3 home runs a game for Tuffy Rose, and I think he had something like 13 in his career.
That's wild.
So I'm like, that gives you something along those lines. So it gives you, it's just kind of like the Ozzie Smith deal where he had like 8 in his career, and he gets the big one in 85 to get to the World Series.
Yep, it's, you know, things happen at weird times.
I know.
But, you know, being a strikeout pitcher, so my theory was, you know, there wasn't as many strikeouts back then, so even though guys pitched more innings, you know, when you look at the amount of strikeouts, now they're doubling the strikeouts in less time, so it, you know, it kind of equals out. You're not going to see many 3,000 strikeout pitchers, you know, or even 2,000 strikeout pitchers anymore.
Well, you got to realize, my type of pitcher, Greg Maddux, for instance, like 3,500 career strikeouts, never went over 90. And it's like, and he went those, but it's like, see, the biggest reason we're not going to see it is because people are, the pitchers are relying on the Tommy John too much to be able to get, I'll give a little thing. I give a little thing from back in my family. My dad, when my dad was older, as people know, I bring this up a little bit. As he was older, there were a couple of little things that they would have. The doctors would ask if he would ever have surgery. In my life, he's 82 years old, never had surgery in my time. So he was over 60, 70. I mean, he was a beast. He never had surgery, but they also said, would you ever have surgery? He said, no, because I'll never be the same again. And people have to understand this. And it's like, we'll go bring up Ed Howard for a second on it. He's 20 years old, but what he hurt himself on was his hip. Now, yes, he's young. Now we need to see what the hip surgeries are going to be like. It's going to be better than they were in Bo Jackson's time. But another thing we got to see is, will he have the same swivel? I mean, you have to have a complete swivel to have a good home run swing, a good swing and everything, and be able to play shortstop especially. And it's like, will it work like that? It's like, I can't say he won't come back because the medical thing is so different now. But it's still the hip, and it is the roughest thing. That is one of the roughest injuries you can get at any age.
Yeah, it's a tough injury. And, I was big on him. I thought he's, before this, I was waiting a couple of years. I figured he was going to be a huge star, especially, like I said, being from Chicago. It was a great draft pick. But I hope he recovers well, and I hope he can come back just as good as he was expected to be, if not better.
Well, yeah, and it's like, but see, the thing was, when I first heard he collapsed, I mean, this was just before I checked everything. I was thinking knee. He went down. You're thinking knee and everything. I'm like, well, I mean, you got to realize this is the era now where Kyle Schwarber blew his ACL and MCL out and came back in the World Series. So you're thinking that, but then now you say hip, and now it gets completely different. It's and realize before you even get hip surgery, they're checking your heart. They're checking your heart because remember, Scott Hall passed away.
Yes.
He had a bad enough heart when he was trying to replace his hip after he blew it out and everything like that. He was older, mind you, 3 times older. But they even have to check your heart before they go in with your hip now, just because it's so invasive.
Yes.
And it's not saying anything would happen to him. It's just hips are just so different from any other part.
For sure. So, Cup or dud? Sandberg next statue?
Yeah, but whenever, I'm not sure, because as you said, you were saying by itself, does he have a problem with the organization? But yeah, I can see it a couple of years or whatever. But I'll tell you who will get a statue in 8 to 10 years: Jake Arrieta.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
I mean, you got to realize he absolutely was the World Series. I mean, as much as anything. Remember, Kyle Hendricks had a pretty brilliant Game 7, and they pulled him early. He had a pretty brilliant Game 7. He pitched it and everything like that. But Kyle Hendricks said, but Arrieta, he hit homers, he hit doubles, he was everything, and then he was dominant. I mean, he was the World Series, and it's like maybe if you have one more person you can think about, he was the team. We're gonna have to say Anthony Rizzo. We're going to say Rizzo if you do something like that. But other than that, I think if you talk about the World Series, it's got to be Arrieta. But yeah, I'll think Sandberg. But after that, I'm going to say Arrieta.
Okay, cool. And really quick, because we're running short on time, where can people find you?
Well, I am on. I am on Monday nights during the season with NBA Carousel when that time comes. Not during playoffs right now. I am on that. Tuesday nights here, Cubfidential. Thursday nights with Jenn for the, and everybody knows her, Jenn Lewis for the Pundits Pundit, my co-host. And then Sunday nights, Basket Bros. We're working some things out, and I've got a couple of other show ideas going on to the thing, And no, awesome. Henry Rowan Gardner does not make it. I hate that movie.
So we're gonna keep it rolling because we're running short on time. We're gonna do the confrontation. So, you right now are losing to Jordan. So we need you to redeem yourself tonight.
Come on, that's kind of like losing on any on any of those ESPN shows. You win and you lose. You know what I mean? It's like I already know I win every week anyway. So,
so this week, big question. Who's going to end up with more home runs? We have Patrick Wisdom or Suzuki.
Oh, God, Wisdom. Now, let me tell you why. For one thing, Patrick Wisdom I'm just going to say this right now, he has 58 strikeouts already. He has a career under 300 on-base percentage. He doesn't do anything but strike out and hit homers. Realize also, Seiya Suzuki hits every part of the field. He has over a 350 on base percentage. He is an intelligent hitter. He's walked 20 times already. This is the kind of things he does. So one of the things you have to say is he's not going to go for the home run. He's not going for it. He's not going for anything. If it happens, it happens. He's going for he is hitting in all situations. He's going for every little detail. Patrick Wisdom is going to break. He's going to break Adam Dunn's strikeout records, and in the meantime, probably hit 40 homers. So he's going to crush the home run thing. That's what Patrick Wisdom had. He's also going to hit about 225. He's already a 226 career hitter. So we just got to be honest. It's going to be Wisdom, and Wisdom's going to crush it.
All right, Jacob. Thank you so much. You'll be back for your minute to go. Jordan, come on up. Let's show why you're the two-time champion in the Cubfidential. Take it away.
So I understand that Patrick Wisdom has the lead right now, but let's not forget Suzuki has 4. Yes, you were talking about the strikeouts. Wisdom, again, has 132 going into tonight's game against Cincinnati, even though that we won that game. But, 132 at-bats, but he has 58 strikeouts. Guess what Suzuki doesn't do? He doesn't swing at bad pitches. He is more patient at the plate. What do more patient hitters do? They smack the long ball. Why? Because you're making the pitcher pitch. Let's understand something. He is a rookie understanding Major League Baseball hitting. Once he gets this done, he's going to hit more than Wisdom. The fact of the matter is, it's at 4 right now. I understand that. But he has 11 less strikeouts. That's 11 less times he's trying to hit the ball over the fence. The fact of the matter is once he starts being more patient at the plate, unlike Wisdom, that's going to change the course of this race. He's going to end up understanding how to hit somebody's fastball over the fence, curveball, knuckleball, whatever you want to call it. But the fact of the matter is he's still a rookie. He's still understanding Major League Baseball hitting or pitching. Once he gets that down, he will hit more.
All right, Jacob, you got your minute rebuttal. Start now.
You got a good point there. But it's like the biggest thing about it is the fact that Suzuki is going to be a 275, 280 hitter when it's all said and done. And that's 25 homers, 26 homers. That's what he's going to be because he's not trying to get a homer. He's not trying. He's not. He rarely ever goes for the fences. He's always situationally hitting. I haven't seen Wisdom situationally hit very often at all, if ever. That's not going to happen. But it's like, remember, he'll strike out 13 and 15, but then he'll also hit 3 or 4 homers in a row. That reminds me of Soriano. And that's just the truth. He's Alfonso Soriano of this era. And he's going to hit his 40 homers. He's also going to get about 250 strikeouts when it's said and done. So it's going to be 40 home runs. It's going to be Suzuki about 25 with about 35 or 40 or however many doubles. He's going to probably hit some triples also. He hits every type of hit, unlike Wisdom.
All right, Jordan, your minute rebuttal, then we got a winner.
So you're talking about the fact that he can hit everything. That's going to equal home runs. You're looking at Wisdom that's more of a free swinger. He struck out 58 times to Suzuki's 47. Yes, I understand that Suzuki's a situational hitter, but once he gets down Major League Baseball hitting, he's going to end up hitting 30 to 40 home runs. Maybe that'll happen here in a little bit. All he has to do is find the groove, look at the scouting reports, and those are going to be home runs. He's not going to chase things outside the zone like Patrick Wisdom. The thing I do like about Suzuki, he's young. He can learn a little bit more than Patrick Wisdom. In the end, though, the race is going to be Suzuki. He's going to probably hit 20 to 30, and Patrick Wisdom is going to cool down. Why? Because he strikes out. You cannot keep chasing pitches outside the zone. So Suzuki, in my mind, will have more home runs at the end of the year.
All right, so bring up the two guys real quick and put it in a 3-box. And the winner, and I don't know if this was a lack of an argument because you both made great arguments tonight. I think it's just from the fact that I think Wisdom's going to hit more home runs this year, maybe next year. But your winner and tying up the
you're too tired.
and tying up the Cubfidential race is the Pundits Pundit. But great argument, guys. Great show. I'll see you guys both next week. We'll see who takes the lead in the Cubfidential. But this is another Sideline Sports production. Catch us here every Tuesday night at 11.
Yep.
Don't forget, we have shows 7 nights a week all along the network. Starts out on Monday night with the Sports Arena, which is on Monday and Wednesdays. We're here on Tuesdays, Sideline Sports at 8:30. Three Chicks in a Pod start us off at 7:30. We got shows on Thursday. We got shows on Friday. We got the Pundits Pundit show. Jordan show on Fridays that drops. Basket Bros on Saturday. The Gauntlet on Saturday. Basket Bros on Sunday. There's so many shows. I can't even keep up with it. I didn't even mention them all. Make sure you like it and subscribe to the YouTube page. We ran over tonight because there was so much to talk about. We were plentiful like the Cubs bats this week. We'll see you next week. We're out of here.